If the 20th century's terror of the sea was the great white shark, the 21st century's is very likely the Megalodon. It would make sense. With a body 16 to 21 meters long and weighing over 50 tons, who wouldn't go wide-eyed to the sight of this gargantuan shark? I mean, the size of this guy dwarfs the great white shark and overpowers even the Tyrannosaurus rex. Not only that, but each of its teeth measured 15 centimeters in length, long enough to cover an adult's hand, and its bite force reached up to 180,000 newtons. That's enough to crush 18 1,000 kilogram trucks. This absolutely eclipses the 30 to 50,000 newton bite force of the T-Rex, as well as the Cretaceous crocodilian Deinosuchus's 100,000 newton chomp. The ancient Megalodon certainly seems to have potential for public appeal. Look at these serrated teeth, and that maw's big enough to fit 5 people. Oof. If you were to meet this guy out at sea, one's bladder would certainly give out, no? Armed with its terrifying teeth and bite force, the Megalodon grew into an apex predator that hunted even whales over 16 million years ago. And with Megalodon fossils being discovered in Europe, Africa, Asia, the Americas, and Oceania, it's no exaggeration to say that Megalodon ruled over the Earth's seas during its heyday. However, Earth's largest shark eventually quit the waters around 2.6 million years ago. Though, some say that these titans still lurk in the Mariana Trench. But this is merely a rumor. To maintain its colossal body mass, a Megalodon would need to consume around 1,000 kilograms of meat per day, an amount nearly impossible to find at such depths. Although we could look at other pieces of evidence, the point is, the Megalodon is completely extinct. Okay, so how did such a powerful predator face oblivion? Buckle down, because we're about to explain why the Megalodon went extinct. Let's go! 2.6 million years ago, toward the end of the Pliocene epoch, the last member of the Megalodon species drew its final breath. The timing almost perfectly coincides with the beginning of one of Earth's ice ages. As 30% of the Earth's surface was covered with glaciers, oceanic temperatures began falling as well. So in 1994, a paleontologist named Dr. Gary Morgan reasoned that as the ocean's temperatures fell, the Megalodon's habitat shrank, leading to their eventual extinction. And in 1996, Dr. Peter Klimley, a marine biologist, supported this claim by saying something along the lines of, in oceanic regions where the temperature was low at the time, we don't find many Megalodon fossils. On top of that, many marine biologists thought that whales traveled towards cooler waters protected by their thick, fatty layers at this time, depriving the Megalodon of its main source of food. Thus, it seemed as though the origin of the Megalodon's extinction theory had solidified as a climate change-induced whale migration. However, in 2016, these theories began to crumble. Spearheading this shift was Dr. Catalina Pimiento with a new hypothesis. She postulated that although the Megalodon preferred waters with temperatures between 12 and 27 degrees Celsius, they could have survived in waters of 1 degree Celsius, as evidenced by numerous fossils discovered in such regions. Wondering why? Well, being so massive, their surface area to volume is tiny. Tiny enough to classify the Megalodon as a gigantotherm, an animal whose size aids in its body's thermoregulation. This supports how Megalodons hunted whales in cold waters. Not only that, but modern salmon sharks are warm-blooded, allowing them to thrive in waters with lower temperatures, which means that Megalodon may have been warm-blooded, and with that, the theory that Megalodon went extinct because whales moved to colder waters began losing ground. This being the case, one may begin wondering what factors really drove Megalodon to extinction. One factor modern paleontologists are pointing to is, surprisingly, the appearance of competition. You may be wondering how an apex predator of Megalodon's caliber could possibly have had competition, but it did. Chief among them, appearing in the Middle Miocene sub-epoch, was the gigantic sperm whale Leviathan. Leviathans encroached upon the Megalodon's turf with a similar body length of 17 meters and teeth that were up to 30 centimeters long, twice the length of Megalodon's. These days, sperm whales usually hunt mid to small-sized fish, octopuses, and squid. Leviathans, on the other hand, battled mid to large-sized whales with their terrifying teeth. Livyodon wasn't the only carnivorous whale at the time, and as a result, Megalodon had to compete with a growing group of ginormous predators. Large whales were hard to come by, smaller whales even more so for ol' Meg. Joining the fray in the late Miocene epoch, modern great white ancestor Carcharodon hubili made things even more difficult. According to research done by Professor Alberto Coloretta, Megalodon enjoyed eating small whales like Piscobalaena. However, its fossils are frequently discovered bearing Carcharodon hubili teeth marks. We can infer that the Megalodon had to compete ferociously with carnivorous whales like the Livyodon and the great white's ancestors for food. And to make things worse, during this time, around 3 million years ago, the number of whales, Megalodon's main food source, began declining. While we don't know the exact cause, as you can see from this graph, the variety of diatoms decreased drastically, which led to a decline in krill and plankton populations, resulting in the extinction of many krill-consuming baleen whales. The number of whale species at the time was 60, half of them went extinct. In 2017, Dr. Catalina Pimiento published a study to Nature which stated that around 3 million years ago, there was a mass extinction event of not only whales, but also 55% of marine mammals, 35% of seabirds, 9% of sharks, 43% of turtles, and more. In total, around 36% of large marine species went extinct. Simply put, there was an oceanic famine across the seas. These situations are generally unkind to the big guy. If there's a lack of life swimming about, it doesn't matter how good you are at hunting. It becomes near impossible to maintain your body mass. On the flip side, smaller carnivores like the great white and the orca can get by with relatively less and use their agility to hunt small fish. This was likely a key advantage during this period of aquatic annihilation. These facts led paleontologists to turn away from climate change as the cause of Megalodon's extinction and towards the appearance of competition and lack of food. But what's interesting is that the Megalodon's extinction fertilized a new spurt of evolution, the gigantism of whales. With Megalodon out of the picture, oceanic supremacy passed on to the great whites and orcas of the world, but these fellows were only 8 to 9 meters long, too small to hunt mid to large-sized whales. Thanks to this, whales around 10 meter long didn't have to worry about any predators and could evolve larger bodies without worry. Also, looking at this graph, we can see that as the variety of diatoms increased, so too did the number of krill. With plenty of krill to munch on, some whale species were primed to expand. If you look at when the 25-meter-long blue whale first began cruising the currents around 2 million years ago, it coincides with when large sharks like the Megalodon left the playing field. And what's even more surprising is that some paleontologists hypothesize that millions of years into the future, the great white sharks of today will grow as large as megalodons and hunt whales. In fact, modern great whites are 1 meter longer than their Pliocene ancestors. Tens of millions of years later, will new megalodons be cruising future oceans? Isn't that such a beautiful application of science? The ability to imagine and dream what the world could be. Science is a window to the world, and this has been Science Dream. Thank you.